going to hear now is some ideas for what life is going to be like in the post-work version of Luton called Lutopia, starting with David and Jamie talking about how they'll spend their time.
Well, in the Luton version of the Venus Project, we spoke about how without money being a barrier to people doing what they want to do, we would have more time to do the things that we really enjoy doing. And our table discussed that being things like drinking coffee, going for long runs, teaching music, making music, playing music, learning new instruments, and basically that the barrier of having money to have to go and pay bills and put a roof over your head would, with that removed, would enable you to go out and branch out into doing all manner of other things that you enjoy doing, learning other stuff, and then also having the time to share that information and knowledge with others.
Excellent. And the second question was around how people will learn, or what they'd like to learn.
Yeah, what we'd learn and what we'd teach. So we sort of thought that people would sort of pursue knowledge for the sake of knowledge, and art for art's sake, of course. And we sort of boiled down to things, sort of teachings of quite basic, fundamental things, sort of how nature is really important to people, mindfulness, teaching of good citizenship as well. We had a very long argument whether racism and sexism and homophobia and stuff would still exist, which went on to a whole other topic. But then also we did write things like survival skills, and then you talked about how people would pursue apprenticeships to learn new skills as well, just for their own enjoyment, rather than the need to create a career and make money and just have enough money to live.
Fantastic. And then the final topic that was discussed by the TestBeds crew was on technology, and what technology would be allowed in Lutopia and what would be banned.
Okay, so we'll start with the negative stuff first, which is we would get rid of mobile phones. We find mobile phones to be a major distraction in social engagement between parties, and we would reinstate phone boxes and phone booths, but with added functionalities such as cameras and videos, where they could people could talk to each other and pick up their own messages through the same, just by walking into a phone booth. We would get rid of guns and weapons. Recently, there's been a lot of trouble in the media regarding weapons and the youth that misuse them. And last but not least is the misuse of plastic. I recently read a study somewhere, and it said that by the year 2050 there'll be more plastic in the ocean than there are fishes. So it's the misuse of plastic, and maybe we could use those sort of materials for other things, that, for example, house building, robust, or even cars, or something along those lines. But we'll look to that in the future. We'll do that when we get there. The things we'd like to keep is the fax. The fax is more for the fax machines, even though no one ever uses it. We'd like to keep the fax machines for mainly for like hospital and sort of indirect emergency secure data transfer, which can't be tapped or interrupted by external parties. We would like to also keep musical instruments, because everyone loves music, and tools such as hammers, drills, and these are everything like DIY tools that people can use, and also disability equipment, so we can still help those that need to get around and accessibilities, and they won't be able to struggle. And that's me gone.
That's great. So Lutopia is sounding very rosy. Thanks very much for sketching it out. Cheers.